God says, this is not a whisper. This is not a gentle nudge. This is a thunderclap in the middle of your ordinary day, because ordinary will not save you now. Michael stands at the doorway of your life with a hand on the latch and a voice that will not be ignored. Need to talk to you, and it has to be now. This is the last warning. Don't you dare ignore this and make me angry. Open it urgently. This message is for you. Yes, you, the one who scrolls, who scoffs, who thinks miracles are for other people. Don't try to skip this. Don't tell yourself you'll come back later. Don't put this in the pile with the half-read promises, the postponed prayers, the forgotten dreams. God knows your excuses. God sees the exact shape of every small avoidance you hide behind. This is not rhetoric. This is a summons to stand up, to face what you've been running from, to answer with a yes that has teeth. I am not asking. God says, I am commanding. Not to take away your freedom, but to free you from the prison you have allowed fear to build around your heart. There are choices burning like coals in front of you. Take one. Step across. Make the decision that collapses the road of doubt into a bridge of obedience. Do it because the clock on the season of your life is not infinite. Do it because what waits for you on the other side is too vast to be missed. Hear this carefully, a door is opening for you, but it will not remain open forever. This opportunity will not linger like a polite guest. It has a timetable. It has a moment when it is ripe and a day when it will be gone. If you ignore the warning now, the silence you hear later will be a wall. Right now, there's still a key in your hand. Use it. Do not toy with it. Do not let fear convince you that the key belongs to someone else. I know what you have carried. God says, I see the nights when you lay awake and replay small humiliations as if they are final verdicts. I see the moments when you swallowed your voice to keep the peace and later choked on silence. I know the places where you convinced yourself you were not worthy of love, of success, of grace, because someone else drew a line across your name and said it with certainty. Those lies end tonight. Do not let them convince you to stay small. This is a word of fierce compassion. God says, you are not abandoned. Regardless of the noise, the betrayal, the sudden losses, or the quiet betrayals you've committed against yourself, my presence is not a rumor, it is an action. Michael is not a distant figure offering platitudes. He is a warrior who stands under the banner of justice and mercy at once. You will be fought for. Yes, there will be resistance. Yes, there will be pain in the transition. There is always tearing before new cloth is woven. But the tearing is not the end. It is the prelude to a garment that fits your true calling. Do not underestimate how profoundly small decisions now will affect the arc of your life. A single yes, one honest conversation, one generous action, one step toward the person you're meant to be, can reroute decades. God says, act with urgency, because procrastination is a thief that robs you of more than time. It steals momentum, hope, relationships, and the clarity of purpose. Begin tonight, not tomorrow. Begin in the way you can: a prayer, a phone call, a message, a confession written down and torn up, a small act of courage. These are not trivial. They are the first stones of a new foundation. You have been waiting for permission. Here it is. God says, permission granted. Permission to be whole, permission to grieve what must be grieved, permission to let go of what has held you back, permission to accept help, permission to speak your truth. This is not a permission slip to indulge in selfishness. It is an invitation to participate in your own rescue. Michael demands that you stop punishing yourself by doing less than you were made for. Rise. There will be moments of fear. They will scream louder than the warnings. When fear screams, remember this command: walk toward what frightens you. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the choice to act despite it. God says, I will be with you in every trembling step. I will not remove the ordeal entirely, but I will temper it with my presence so that you can endure and become. Some of you are tangled in relationships that look like love but feel like cages. People who use you for their comfort, who take your kindness as a birthright, who sow confusion and harvest your doubt. God says, Michael will draw a line. You will be given the clarity to see what truly serves your soul and what only consumes it. Boundaries are not cruel. They are sacred. Put them in place. Speak up. Leave rooms where your spirit shrinks. Do not be afraid to sever ties that have become tools of your undoing. There will be grief. There will be grief because endings are not always gentle. But endings are the only way for new life to begin. To those who feel invisible in the workplace, in the family, in friendships, God says your season is changing. You will not be overlooked forever. The effort you think went unnoticed has been recorded. The small, faithful labors you did in private are the very seeds that will sprout into visible favor. Prepare your heart for recognition. Prepare your mind for responsibility. When doors open, walk through with humility and strength. Do not shrink from the increase. Receive with thanksgiving and steward well what is entrusted to you. To the ones crushed by debt, by loss, by medical reports that read like judgments, God says, do not let despair translate into fatalism. There are practical steps to take and spiritual steps to take. Both matter. Ask for help. Consult the wise. Be proactive about your health. Be diligent about your finances. But under every practical measure, know this: divine intervention often shows up through the hands of people. Do not despise the gift and the humble envelopes of help that arrive. Michael will orchestrate people to cross your path who will be the instruments of your rescue. There will be tests. Some will seem unfair. Some will be long. God says, "Endure not because suffering is virtuous for its own sake, but because endurance refines you into the kind of person who can carry the purpose birthed in your life." Without the furnace, certain strengths would never be forged. Hold fast when it's hard. Press into community. Labor in truth. When the trial is over, you will find that your capacity for compassion, for leadership, and for faith has expanded beyond what you thought possible. Do not be deceived by appearances. Miracles often begin in silence, in small rearrangements of circumstances that, if you are paying attention, reveal the hand of God. A conversation that seems incidental will change your career. A neighbor's casual remark will point you to a friend who becomes a partner. Be alert to the sacred in the ordinary. God says, "Do not sleepwalk through the details of your day." Presence is a discipline. Practice noticing. You have given away pieces of yourself in hush-hush compromises, hoping that if you surrendered certain parts, the rest would stay intact. It does not work that way. Every compromise carves a new canyon in your spirit. God says, "Repent, not as a ritual, but as a turning." Turn away from those small betrayals. Reclaim what you lost. Begin to speak honestly to yourself and to others. Confession is not for punishment, it is for restoration. To parents wounded by the rebellion of a child, to children estranged from parents, to lovers whose trust was broken, God says reconciliation is possible, but it requires truth. Do not trade reconciliation for convenience. True restoration will cost something. Be willing to pay it. Seek reconciliation first with humility and then with courage. Where reconciliation is not possible, build a new life firmly anchored in the love that remains available to you. Let go with grace and protect your heart. This is a call to courageous leadership in your own life. Leadership doesn't always mean standing on a stage. It means taking responsibility for your emotional climate. It means refusing victimhood when you can choose to be the agent of change. God says, "Be the person who calls others into better, who chooses what is right even when it is costly, who models integrity when shortcuts are whispered." You were made to steward influence. Use it well. There are practical things you must do now. Not in some mystical future, but now. Say the hard words. Have the conversations you've delayed. Write the letter that names what matters. Make the call to the doctor. Tidy the finances. Apologize where you've harmed. Forgive where you were harmed. Begin a regimen of rest and restoration. Schedule the repair. The small practicals are the scaffolding for the big miracles. God says, no longer tolerate theft in your life, theft of time, of dignity, of peace. Stop letting other people's immaturity dictate the terms of your joy. You have the right to a life of dignity. Claim it. Michael will not ask you to be cruel. He will ask you to be wise. Discernment will sharpen in you like a blade. Test the spirits, test the words that come across your life. Not every angel is sent from me. Not every message is a gift. Trust and verify through prayer, through counsel, and through the quiet room where truth speaks. To the one wrestling with identity, with who you are beneath the masks, God says, "You are beloved." Labels thrown at you by others are not your certificate of truth. Your worth is not a function of productivity, appearance, or approval. Your identity is rooted in me. Find that root in quiet, not in noise. Sit with me. Let the false stories fall away. They will be replaced with an unshakable declaration, "You are mine." There is nothing more certain than that. To those tempted to despair because the dream catalog is full of blank pages, God says, dreams are not always erased, sometimes they are rewritten. What you thought would be your path might be redirected into something more luminous. Be willing to abandon a narrow dream for a bigger calling. Your plan may have been small because you didn't yet know the breadth of what I had in store. When you surrender the tight grip, my hands refill you with a purpose that fits your soul. Do not confuse activity with progress. Busyness is not evidence of fruit. Be intentional about what you cultivate. Set priorities that honor your values. Guard your rhythms. God says, rest is not optional. It is holy. Rest reconfigures you to receive revelation. Do not be proud of exhaustion. In the silence of rest, doors will be shown to you. Expect opposition. Anyone stepping into a new season will meet resistance. It's not a sign you are off course, it is a sign that you are moving something that has been comfortable being stagnant. The enemy celebrates inertia. Michael, though, will break chains. Stand firm. Anchor in truth. Speak declarations that are biblical to your circumstance. Not as a superstition, but as the architecture of faith. Be intentional about your speech. Words are active. They build or destroy. God says, speak life. Refuse to rehearse your fear. Do not narrate your failure to everyone who will listen. Tell your story with truth, but not with the aim to wallow. You are a witness, not a victim. Let the language that comes from your mouth be an offering to possibility, not a summons to defeat. There will be a time for celebration. Do not postpone joy until everything is fixed. Joy is not dependent on circumstances alone. It is a spiritual posture. Find pockets of gratitude. Name 3 things each day that are gifts. Gratitude trains your heart to spot the hand of God when it moves. It rewires you to notice, which in turn invites more noticing. God continues, the air around you is charged because decisions are forming like storms. This is not the gentle continuation of what you already know, this is an escalation. You've been given a sequence. Follow it. Do not fragment your attention with 1,000 small distractions. Choose one path and walk it with integrity. Allow me to reorder the priorities of your heart. Michael says, you have been waiting for a sign that it's safe to step. Here it is. Safety is never the absence of risk, it is the assurance of accompaniment. Step into risk with me at your side. There will be moments when your knees tremble, allow them to tremble and still choose the step. Trembling is not disqualification, it is the honest human response to sacred work. This next phase will require tough pruning. Your calendar will have to change. Your social life may contract in service of something larger. You may lose invitations and gain focus. Do not be afraid of this narrowing. It is the means by which elastic strength is built. Choose what deepens you over what merely entertains you. Every yes to small, shallow things is a no to a deeper yes. Listen, confession and clarity go together. You cannot steward the new without naming the old. Make an inventory of where you have compromised. Write down the lies you've believed about yourself and then speak true sentences over each one. For every lie, offer a specific truth, even if it feels small or silly. Repeat it until it aches into your bones. Conviction begins as sound and becomes structure. There will be practical reparation to make. Where you've taken advantage, begin to return. Make restitution where possible. Reconciliation often begins with accountability and a willingness to be inconvenienced for the sake of healing. Humility will be the currency of your restoration. If people cannot receive the reparation you offer, release the outcome to me. You are responsible for your actions, you are not responsible for everyone else's response. Be suspicious of crowds of affirmation that ask nothing of you but performance. Popularity that asks you to shrink or to perform is not the altar of blessing. True honor will ask you to be more of who you are, not a shrunken version that fits someone else's shelf. When recognition comes, test it. Does it call you higher or does it tempt you to trade integrity for applause? Keep what refines you, discard what flatters your insecurity. To those who feel like prayers are fruitless, prayers are not magic words that guarantee immediate change, they are the language that aligns your will with mine. Pray with specificity. Do not pray generalities because the particular opens doors that the vague cannot. Name the fear, name the need, name the person, name the date if you can. Specific requests sharpen the heart and invite practical pathways. You will be confronted with choices that feel ethically gray. When in doubt, choose the side of the oppressed, the weak, the one who cannot speak for themselves. Righteousness is not an abstract ideal, it is the everyday decision to tilt your life toward justice. Small decisions build the architecture of a life that witnesses. Do not be enslaved by perfectionism in relationships. You will be tempted to wait for the perfectly reconciled conversation, the perfectly timed apology, the perfectly edited message. Those do not exist. Offer the hand you have now. The posture of starting is more sacred than the posture of waiting. For those navigating public exposure, anonymity is a shield for some seasons and a prison for others. Guard your margin. Public attention multiplies small sins into larger headlines. Cultivate people who will tell you truth when you are tempted to believe your own press. You need both the crowd and the counsel, but let counsel weigh more. This season calls for financial courage. Not reckless risk, but brave stewardship. If you have been hoarding money out of fear, begin to set aside for tangible generosity. Give where it hurts and watch how provision begins to rearrange. If indebtedness feels like a mountain, make a plan, a humble, disciplined plan, and begin the smallest consistent step toward repayment. Progress, not perfection. There will be a refining of vocation. What you thought would satisfy will not. The work that will reward you is the work that enlarges other people's lives, not merely your bank account. Look for vocation where your gifts meet the world's need. Work that serves is the path where joy and provision meet. Protect your sleep. Let rest be non-negotiable. God says, "You are not more holy when you are exhausted." Your decisions are better after sleep. Your mercy is more sustainable when you are rested. Carve out a nightly ritual that signals to your body and soul that rest is sacred. Set public milestones. Small, accountable goals help your soul believe in the possibility of change. Tell someone you trust and then report back. Accountability is not shame, it is a scaffolding that prevents collapse. Choose trustworthy observers rather than admirers. Expect a season where relationships reveal their true colors. Some will betray, some will fortify. Do not be surprised, be wise. Build relational insurance. Cultivate 3 people who will tell you the truth even when it costs them socially. These are not critics for the sake of criticism, they are the lovers of your integrity. Practice the discipline of celebration. When a small victory comes, mark it. Do not let the next mountain eclipse the joy of the last climb. Celebration trains your soul to remember, which in turn increases your capacity to hope. Redouble your investment in learning. Read books that refine your mind and stretch your soul. Find one mentor this season and be willing to be coached. Mentors are not trophies, they are instruments. Receive correction without resistance. There will be invitations that look like detours but are actually calibrations. Say yes to one improbable thing this season. It may reroute discomfort into destiny. Probability is not destiny. God often writes the improbable into your story. Do not mistake silence for absence. There will be moments when it seems the heavens are quiet. In those quiets, do the work. Pray. Act. Prepare. The silence is not abandonment, it is a time of concentration where unseen things line up. This next part of the message is an oath. If you will say yes and do the next right thing, I will move in ways that will astonish you. The movements may not arrive as trumpets at first, Many begin as a small nudge, a phone call, a paper pushed across a desk. Be attentive. The subtle is often the beginning of the spectacular. Act now. Choose one practical thing from this list and do it today. Then tell someone. Then do it again tomorrow. Habit is the door through which destiny walks. Michael waits. I am near. Do not delay.